compared to this. A lot safer.
I'm gonna say Hellcat on it.
Now we're gonna start installing this clutch. Triple disc with aluminum flywheel. I don't know if I've said this yet, but this is gonna be a first in the world. Transmission is finally in the Drift Cat. We hit a major roadblock, and that's because the top of the transmission was hitting transmission tunnel. The hole that we cut, nowhere near big enough, cut out the bottom of that transmission tunnel, and then cut Challenger transmission tunnel 1.5 inches down. Hello, I'm Jensen. What's going on, guys? We are back here at City Performance for episode 7 of building a manual Hellcat Charger. We ran into a giant roadblock, something that we didn't expect was gonna happen, but we were kind of prepared for. As you saw in the last episode, we were trying to mock up the transmission, realized that the cross member was probably inch and a half away from being bolted in, and that's because the top of the transmission was hitting transmission tunnel. So now we have a Challenger transmission tunnel. So there's a couple different options we can do. What we're thinking of doing is just cutting a bigger section out how they did from factory. Like I said, this is the manual transmission tunnel from a Challenger, but this plate comes on top. Theoretically, if the transmission tunnels are the same size, we can cut a hole the same size as this, make this little indentation into the automatic one, and then we can just bolt this plate on top. That's the plan anyway. Hopefully this will work. Otherwise, we're gonna have to cut the top of the transmission tunnel and then somehow panel bond it on and then cut this one out. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we hit a major roadblock, and hopefully we can get this knocked out very soon. That is the update for episode 7. Let's get right to it. It's gonna be 1 layer of metal, so it shouldn't be too bad to bend. Yeah, this is definitely 2 layers of metal. So we're gonna have to bend 2 layers of metal, cut through 2 layers of metal. As you saw in the last video, we were trying to mount this damn transmission, and it was pretty much in there until we were trying to line up the trans and it started hitting the damn transmission tunnels.
Alright, get to cutting.
So first step is we're gonna have to take the center console out again. Center console's gotta come back out so we can start cutting and chopping. Just showing you guys what it takes to manual swap. Hopefully you watch these videos so you don't have to go through this process. You already know what's gonna have to be done. Anyone that's going to be manual swapping, you know the little steps and little tricks that you're gonna have to do. Definitely, if you can, buy a wrecked manual Challenger, because you're gonna need a lot from that car. So looking inside the interior, obviously center console is in. We're about to remove that, but looking at the transmission tunnel, we're almost going to have to cut into like right here almost. We're definitely gonna need a way bigger hole. I put everything back in the center console. Stupid. All right. So we're gonna have to cut a big chunk out right here. Big chunk, but makes me feel better that there's a small lip here already. That little hole that we already cut, I was like, cutting into a Hellcat, but now we're gonna cut a hole 3 times the size. What you got going on over here, dude? Little template?
Yeah.
The center section is where we're gonna cut the transmission tunnel. What we decided to do is use that top plate as the top of the transmission tunnel and then cut out the bottom of the tunnel, so there will just be a giant hole, kind of like how the Challenger one is set up. So it's gonna be pretty factory, just gonna be a lot harder. That transmission tunnel in the Charger is 3 layers of metal thick versus the Challenger, which is only 1 layer of metal. The hole that we cut is nowhere near big enough for what we need. You notice those little brackets on each side right here on the Charger transmission tunnel are these same brackets on the Challenger transmission tunnel. So as you see, it comes right to those brackets, which our hole will go right to those brackets. So it'll work perfectly.
Gotta cut this off, lay down flat. I already measured it, everything come out good. Did the marks for those little holes right here, but bolt and a nut going through it, you know? Because this one comes with the actual, like a gasket. But that's the end of this video.
Not yet. Not yet. This transmission, there's a couple, what would you call those? Studs? Bolts that stick up from the inside of the transmission tunnel coming up. The auto, there's only 4. So if you look at the Challenger one, these 6 are where we're gonna have to drill those holes. The hole will have to be 10 times as big, and then we'll be able to put that bracket on top of it, and then we'll be able to put this rubber sound deadening piece on top of it, a little insulation piece, just like that. But doing it this way is going to be a lot more factory setup than what we were going to do, because at first we were just going to cut that little hole and then leave that little hole. That's definitely not how it's set up in the Challenger from factory. I'm kind of happy we're doing it. It's just a lot more work. We've already put the transmission in like 3 times, trying not to have to drop the transmission again. If we have to, we have to. So if this doesn't work, then we're obviously going to go back to the original plan, but we're just trying to figure out if there's a better route to do this instead of having to cut and chop a bunch of stuff. If we can just cut a bigger hole and then almost come up with our own transmission tunnel. If not, we'll just go back to the original. It's like an inch taller.
It's an inch taller.
So we're measuring the manual transmission tunnel from different points, trying to see how high it is raised. So far, right here is 1.5 inches.
9.5. 9 and 9. So 9 and 9.
Sound like Hitler.
So 9 and 9. But yeah, pretty much this is the only part.
From this seam down.
But it's chop, 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 chop.
So this isn't mine. This is one of the homies, but this is just a handbrake that's laying around at the shop. Like that. That would be so tight, so clean. It would need to be higher, obviously. It'd probably be up here or something. Maybe have to do a little extension, but little hydro. Have to do a dual caliper bracket. I have another set of rear Brembo calipers already at the house, so that's easy. Looking under the car now at the transmission tunnel and where we're gonna cut. The transmission sits a lot farther back than I thought it did, so we don't have to be too careful of the hole we're gonna cut. I suggested fucking cutting a piece of this so we can put a little shield on top of the transmission just so we don't cut down into it. We'll figure something out. And I want to give a huge shout out to my guy Sideways D. A lot of people have been sending me the video of his charger, probably one of the only other 6-speed chargers out there. I think his made like 850 or something like that. Got a lot of advice from bro, so shout out to my guy. Met him when I was out in Texas. He let me drive his wide body red eyes. Shout out to my guy because he saved me a lot of time and headache that I was gonna have to go through. I'm not gonna show you guys but he showed me what he did to his. I don't know if he wants me to show you guys, so I'm not gonna show you, but he showed me what he did to his transmission tunnel. He gave me a couple tips, couple tricks. Shout out to my guy D. A lot of people don't think that I know about his build. Everyone keeps sending me his build or don't think that I know him. In the last video, I said that this was gonna be one of the first in the world. I didn't know I would have to like specify. So this is gonna be the first 1,000 horsepower 6-speed Hellcat charger with this setup. No other 6-speed charger has a 1,000 horsepower platform. None of them have done the triple disc. None of them have done the SFI approved, all the stuff that we're doing. This is gonna be a one of one, so that makes it a first in the world. No, it is not the first 6-speed Hellcat charger. I know pretty much everyone that has done it. No one's done it to this caliber. No shade to anyone, but you know, this is a different level. This is a 101. But once again, huge shout out to my guy D for the advice on the build. Appreciate you, my guy. Make sure you guys go follow him, sideways_D. All right, another update. I just called D and asked him about what he did in his setup. So what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna use the top of this transmission tunnel, because right here it sits probably an inch and a half higher than the automatic one does. Cut out the bottom of that transmission tunnel,
Like the edge
right on the edge, and then what we're gonna do is cut this one probably an inch and a half down, so then we can just take this top piece and then throw it on top of that transmission tunnel, weld it, seal it up and everything, so that way it'll sit an inch higher. Definitely did not expect to have to do this. Make it fit right and make everything function properly. This is what we're gonna have to do. We can't just cut a hole and put that plate in, what we thought we were gonna do. Cut this probably, where you gonna go to, like here?
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little, so think
a little extra.
Yeah, so think of it's right here, but I'm gonna go out a half inch, just because like half inch.
Almost where that seam is. Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then go down inch and a half or so, all the way across, and then pretty much at this seam as well. We'll get through it. Just a little cutting and welding.
So the only part that is hidden on this transmission is this right here.
Yeah.
Where it goes, you know, the shifter. The back of the transmission, we have right here, we got 2.5 inches of space. So if we cut this, like a, you know, like a little square, I think I'm gonna do it, bro.
Also, if we do that, we're gonna have to take out the dash, because the dash is right here. It pretty much starts right here. And he's talking about cutting way over here. But you gotta think, if we do that and we raise it or whatever, right? The center console is right here, so there's plugs right here, and then the AC is right here too. So there's gonna be an AC line that runs right here. We're gonna keep plotting on this and try and figure out what the best method is. Tomorrow we're gonna start chopping, so that's gonna be in episode 8. I know this wasn't too much going on in this episode, just a lot of trying to figure out where we're gonna chop. Figuring out that we have to chop running into this roadblock was not something that I thought was gonna happen in episode 7 or any episode. I didn't want to run into any roadblocks, but we did. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the bell, thumbs up, all that stuff. We'll see you in episode 8.